Greetings, family. This is Bomani Tyehimba, and I'm here with my good brother, Kala Genesis. And family, we have a very interesting, educational show to share with you tonight. And we're talking based on our analysis and deep research. Yeah? So, our title tonight, family, is called Afrikstan, a Black economic state for stolen Africans to develop land, infrastructure, and nationhood. And family, you're live with Kala Genesis and Bomani Tyehimba. So greetings, brother Kala. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go.
All right, so you love the title?
I love it. I've been waiting for this for years, brother.
Absolutely, family. So we're gonna get into it, and we're gonna give a upfront disclaimer that this conversation about us as Black people globally building a nation and doing the things that we need to do for ourselves is nothing personal to any individual groups of people, Black folks. We have to have these serious conversations and get right to the point and deal with it. So my brother, Kala Genesis, just give a quick introduction on the concept that you shared with me about land, infrastructure, nationhood, and just the definition itself of Afrikstan.
Okay. One of the things that you have to understand, the reason why I came up with the term Afrikstan, it means Africa with a K. It means Black Africa. When we say Africa with a K, we're talking about Black Africa. Okay, stolen Africans and everything. That's why we identify ourselves. We say Africans. We say it. We spell with a K. Stand means land or territory or stand, where you make your stand. That's what stand means. Stand means okay. This is where the British, the Ludors, whatever, we stand. This is where we stand. That means territory, right? When you have land and everything, that means you have sovereignty over the territory that you live on. You make the laws, and usually a stand is usually by an ethnic group or a people who become amalgamated into an ethnic group, right? In other words, basically, Britain was invaded by Normandy in the Normandy War, right? But Britain is a amalgamation of hundreds of tribes that once lived on the British islands, and then when they became a nation state or republic, they became British, But if you break down their tribe and everything, the Lombards, the Celts, there's the Vikings, there are all these other people, right? When you talk about a stand, what you're doing is you're taking people that were individual tribes and everything, and you're making them into one people. That's why I call the people in this new territory we call Afrikstani. That means you're African descendant. You're no longer African American. You're no longer Jamaican. You're no longer British Guyanese and everything. When you cross over to this territory, you are part of the new state, the new African, new identity. Okay, and that's what it makes a nation strong. And we'll never have nations that are strong as people hold on to their tribalism belief. I'll say, well, what, Kala, why do you against tribalism? Because the bottom line, we're living in a dangerous world. If after 500 years you haven't figured out that Europeans know how to manipulate different groups of Black people against each other, I don't know what to tell you. Adolf's FBA. What's the point of that? Why am I going to separate myself from people who look like me? We're all one people. We're all one blood. And what I'm saying is this: the only place that's possible where we could build this unified state is on the African continent that we control, because the bottom line is the Yorubas in Nigeria got too much to lose. The Igbos got too much to lose. The people in Ghana, they're in their own ways and everything like that, So the only place where this really Pan-African state is going to exist is on the African continent, and it has to be built by people who are slave descendants, who are in the diaspora. We understand if we built a constitution and a nation state where we make it by law that, there's no tribalism, there's none of that stuff like that, it can work. We're working in Rwanda. Do you know in Rwanda, you're not allowed to mention Hutu and Tutsi? You're all Rwandans. You're all one nation. You think the Europeans like that? No. Because the bottom line, you can't manipulate people. When you can manipulate people against each other, right? They're going to be at each other's throats. And what we see now in the diaspora with all social media, all this disunity among Black people and everything like that, it gets us nowhere. Now, if your end game is to stay in America and get close to white people, hey, that's fine. You're going to say, I'm an FBA, Foundational Negro American, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to stay in America. That's good. But if you basically look at the world, right? the Asians are basically fusing their culture together. They're building new fusion cities. Now, we're not doing nothing that's not being done all around. What do you think Dubai is? Dubai is an Arab fusion culture. You got people in Dubai, right? They set up Dubai. It's separate from United Arab Emirates, right? It's a place where not only Arabs, but people from all over the world could do business. And it was a thing. It was just a piece of territory, right? It was land, infrastructure, and a homeland, a state called Dubai. And they said, okay, this is the laws. This is what you come in and do like this. And all over the world, they're building these prototype smart cities. In Pakistan, they're building them, right? And they got multinationals living together and stuff like that under one government and stuff. Pretty soon, these people are going to be as one people. And right now in Singapore and South Korea is building a $50 billion city, right? And it broke my heart because I look at the city that they're building, right? Now, I said to myself, okay, it's going to be a futuristic city, right? And not only is it going to be just for Koreans, but they're going to be able to pool, they're targeting people from all over Asia to come live there. So in other words, you're going to have people from Vietnam, Thailand, all these people, young students and everything studying and stuff like this, in a new mega city that's going to have international business, industrial zones and all stuff like that, banking centers, financial centers, libraries and everything. And they're all fused, and also the restaurants and everything. They show how the restaurants are going to have, you're going to be able to get any type of Asian dish in Asia because there's going to be people there from all over Asia. And I said to myself, why is it that we don't have this in Africa? Now, that's separate from the regular Korea, but that's going to be, Asiastan, I'm saying that the black race right now needs this territory to build this new fusion culture, and also to say, well, why can't you do it? Because the bottom line is this. I have no problem with people going to Gambia, Ghana, Nigeria, and stuff like this, right? But when I hear the problems that they're having over there, oh man, I don't have a visa, oh no, I had to pay this or whatever like this. Wouldn't it be better if we had a territory? Oh, well, you're not fusing into the African society. Okay, well let's examine that, right? When Africans come to America, right? And like one generation, unlike Chinese, right? Africans lose all their identity. So is the African culture really that strong as we say it is? What is African culture? African culture should be able to adapt to the challenges of the modern world. You shouldn't, just because you live in a modern world, look at Japan. Japan is the most Asian country in the world, but it's the most advanced country in Asia. Think about that. And Japanese are the most indigenous culture in Asia, right? And they're more Asians than the Philippines are. But yet they're way more advanced and more modern. So this idea that the more modern you are, that you lose your African heritage and everything, and this is because we always assume that everything advanced is not African. And the same people tell we built civilization, we built pyramids and everything. So why is it that when we talk about modern systems of government, modern systems of business and everything, suddenly y'all trying to be European? That's because we people, black people who talk that, they always live in America. They always live in the UK. They always live someplace and they're not doing anything. And we don't. And the truth is that sort of mentality is the reason why the black race is down right now. The black race is down right now because nobody wants to make a move to build the African continent. If you start developing the African continent and building the African continent, focus on education, hard work, science, building families again. Oh, y'all trying to be like Europeans. But I thought you said we built civilization. We taught them how to do all this stuff. So why is it that when we say, look, we need to build, why is it that to live a decent life, you got to live or go overseas? Why is it that we couldn't take a Kenyan kid and say, something, I'm tired of Kenya. I want to go to the Afrikstan. They got things popping off there. We would welcome any Kenyan or any African immigrant that comes there and wants to be part of what we're doing if they got something to contribute. If they got something to contribute, fine. We want to take the best and brightest from the continent and build something. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. And so we've been talking about this idea of an Afrikstan, a nation state, that's sole purpose is to remedy and rectify the 500 years. There's never been justice to the African slave descendants. There's never been any justice to the African slave descendants. White people built their whole world on the backs of our ancestors. We never received reparations for slavery. We never got any of that. We don't even have land of our own to go back to in Africa, even though there's plenty of land available. And a lot of Africans tell me, say, yeah, that would be the answer if we did build Africa and populate that with black people from the diaspora, the best and brightest, the hardworking people who can contribute. But here's the thing, Brother Bonnie, I'm going to talk really frank tonight. And I'm going to upset some people. Africa was valued for its human labor when it was building the West. Okay, do you know that the black body on the slave ship was worth 10 times as much as gold? You know, when they basically brought slave ships, right? A slave ship, a markup of a human body, of African body, was 6,000 times the markup. So you pay one price. That's why it was so profitable. Slave trade was the most profitable thing. Why? Because of the demand for labor. You know, the European agricultural mercantile system. That's where the value of Africans is. Here's the thing right now. In 2022, African labor is still valued, right? But not in Africa. You have Nigerians who brag about, oh, I'm a doctor in the UK. I'm a doctor. But Nigeria has no doctors. Ghana has no doctors. So in other words, basically, the African brain and manpower is still used to build other people's empires, other people's infrastructure. We have never built black African infrastructure. That means when you build black African infrastructure, that means you're going to be competing for the brain pool of college graduate and skilled people. Right now, Africa is not even competition. The only skilled labor in Africa really stays there. Maybe a few people are connected to the government, or there's some NGO or whatever like that. For the most part, when Africans get degrees, their goal is to go overseas and get a visa to work overseas and send European currency back to the continent. That is, my friends, is ass backwards. So in other words, the president of Nigeria, Buhari, he has to go overseas to get treatment. All African presidents go to Europe to get treatment for basic health care instead of building the infrastructure on the continent. And the whole thing is this, and you can't build infrastructure if you fundamentally don't value human life. And I'm going to say this, right? And I'm going to have this. We as the Africans and black people, we do not value our lives. We don't value our thing. And we treat people just something, as long as they're fed and clothed, they're all right. They'll be all right. And so you suppress them with fear. You know, that's what the military in Africa was. There's no African country that uses military to protect its borders or go to war with its enemies. The military is used to suppress the people, to keep the people in line. So that's why when you say nationhood, right? The military protects the nation. If your military is not protecting a nation, you don't have a nation. Some countries in Africa, they may be a nation, but they don't have infrastructure, you know? Or African Americans are pretty much a nation, but we have no land. We have no infrastructure. And then when you have countries in Africa, they may have land, but they don't have any real infrastructure. It's never all three, land, infrastructure, nationhood, working together. That means basically when you build, you're building a nation as your base, as your everything. Your nation should be where your sanctuary is. It should be where you gather. It's where all your headquarters is. It's where everything you are is. Look at the state of Israel. I hate Israel. Well, why don't you start learning from people, learning from other groups of people? The majority of Jews don't live in Israel, but every Jew has an interest in Israel. Why? Because it's all psychological, right? The black man in America is psychologically defeated because he doesn't have any homeland of his own. You know, there's nobody, basically, if America gets out of pocket, there's nobody going to, there's no embassy or where we're going to say, hey, look, what are you doing to our people over there? This is why they fear the Pan-African movement, right? And we start saying, something, man, and this is why they make sure that any country we deal with in Africa, the white man in America controls it. Do you think the white man in America is not in the ears of the Ghanaian and Nigerian governments telling them, oh, don't do that with those people? And that's the truth. The Ghanaian government, before they do anything as far as African American, Jerry Rawlings saw that, Yeah, we'll right to a bowl. You can come back and build. I don't know what happened, Bill Clinton, whatever like that, but the Ghanaian parliament said no. You know, they got word from Bill Clinton, no, that's not a good deal. Why? Because it's all psychological. If black people in America start saying, you know, fuck America, I got someplace else to go, I got dual citizenship so I can get out of here, I got land and everything, then their attitudes in America is going to change. It ain't going to be this we shall overcome and all this kind of nonsense they put. It ain't going to be all this kumbaya stuff. It's going to be like, hey, look, if you guys don't act right and give us what we need, we're getting the fuck out of here. You know, we got power. We're going to tell our home countries in Africa to vote against you in the UN. It's going to be on that level. But right now, we're not on that level because nobody mentions Black America in the UN except for when they want to use us. Is there any credible thing that I know about of any nation state reaching out to the Black people in America? No, because that would be a violation of American sovereignty. America sees us as its property. They call us citizens. I mean, we have the passport and everything, but when it really comes down to it, we have to be a citizen in name only. So in other words, basically, you're a citizen. Okay, that's the other thing. But as far as like U.S. foreign policy, it always goes to protect American allies. America gives billions of dollars to the state of Israel. How much of American tax dollars goes to any African country that we are close to? Can you imagine if we basically use our votes in America to bring home this type of money that Israel gets and all these so-called American allies and get? You know, we could develop Africa, but we don't have any power. That's why an Afrikstan is so important, you know, because that would be the basically geopolitical headquarters of the Black people in the diaspora, and say, look, this is what we are. We will be on the world stage. We will have represented in the African Union. We will have represented in all the halls of government around the world, and then we can speak from a position of power and strength. And what I'm saying is this: I don't think a lot of Black people in the West realize or know what it's like to have power. Let me tell you something about what it really comes down to, folks. It's all about power. When they gave you civil rights and everything, they gave you civil rights, they gave you jobs and everything, but it was never about power. You cannot sit here and tell me as a man, as a human being, that it's okay to be powerless. It's okay to be dismissed. It's okay to be sunned and bored, that you got nothing to say. You mean tell me 400 years of hell in the West and you have nothing to say about what the world, how the world operates? You let somebody like Joe Biden represent you? This guy's a bumbling fool, a clown. You know, that's your guy? Are you kidding me? Are you joking me? You have a country right now that can't even figure out what a male and a female is. I was looking at this thing on the other day where this a Black girl. They always get these stupid, ignorant Black girls up there talking about in front of the Senate. Oh, there's no such thing as a male. What is a male? I mean, completely. This is the direction America's going to. You look at the BET Awards. All you see is homosexuality, transgenderism, all stuff like this. This is America. This is what you're buying into. America is a dying civilization. And so, therefore, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, let's just stay here in America and everything. America's dying. You look at the gangs, the crime. Every last single Black community, even middle-class communities in America, affected by gun violence, crime, all kinds of debauchery and degenerate behavior. Degenerate behavior is a normal in Black America now. And so, therefore, what I'm saying is this. We need a territory where we could have a fresh start. We could have a thing where like everybody else, we have the power of reward and punishment. The reason why you can have all the speeches, you can have Farrakhan speak, the gangs, the Bloods, and the Crips, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. Why? Because you can't have punishment without reward. You can't give people reward without punishment. And that's what the white man has in America, right? He started a system of white supremacy, right? And he told every white immigrant to come over here. Hey, you ride this white thing, you'll be rewarded with whiteness and a white society. That's why now they're trying to reflect on why you see white people now. You know, white America's racist. You knew that. You knew that from the day you was born. America's racist. America is all about white people preserving their whiteness, you know, and keeping out the Black man and everything. And when a Black man does rise up, it's because they're so they're so benevolent, and so everything. So basically, the jig is up. You know, the jig is up. America is a white country. Now you got people like Roly Poly Martin who are talking about, it's 2043. That's when the white people are going to be the minority. Dude, let me tell you something. They already figured that out. You got Latinos coming over here, right? And they're marrying white, and they're basically identifying as white. You got Asians who, even though they're not white or Caucasian, they thinking white. You got people even from the black countries and whatnot. They're not. Nobody wants to be on the losing team. Black people in America thought that, oh yeah, we can get these minorities, other minorities don't give a shit about you. You know, they're coming over here getting the bag. The Mexicans don't give a shit about you. You know, so you have no allies, no friends, no anything. You have no political power. You have nothing. You have no social power. You know, being black in America is now a running joke. You have nothing. You have nothing in America to look forward to other than being a second class, now third, fourth class citizen in the country that you so-called love so much. So what I'm saying is that Afrikstan is a revolution. It's the idea that African Americans and African diasporas, the people of slave descendants, should have a territory of their own, something like 25 square miles, right? And say, well, 25, what's that to do? The bottom line is this. You look at freaking Israel. Israel, at its widest point, is only 3 miles wide at the West Bank, between the West Bank and Gaza. That's only a few miles wide. You look at Belgium. Belgium is the size of the state of New Jersey. It's a powerful country. Bottom line, when you build a nation state, you don't need a whole lot of territory. You're building a state. And now we have I've been studying for years. We have so many models of new cities being built. You know, the days of it takes 1,000 years to build a civilization. They build smart cities in less than 3 years, you know, with the technology they have right now. Now, you can have all the infrastructure and everything, but you have to have a nation. You have that nation. Nation are people. We have to be on one accord. Are we a people? We're black. Who are we? We're descendants of the transatlantic slave trade. That's our identity. That's what glues us together. And we got people running around talking about, I'm a Mo, I'm a copper-colored Indian. We don't want you. If one of the things in the BAIO, we always ask people, are you black? Are you black African American? Or are you a black African? Yes. Okay, you're an us. That means, do you recognize that your ancestors came here during the Mayafa, the transatlantic Holocaust? Yes. Okay. That's all we really require. Once you acknowledge that you're black, or you're African American or African descent, black African descent, then do you believe that the African thing? Now, thing is that we ask is, okay, what do you think is the end game for the African Mayafa descendants and everything? Some people say, I don't know. You know, now, do you think integration in America is going to work and everything? Well, what's the immigration means that you're going to completely assimilate into American society and will be one America. Okay, I think that's a good idea. But then if you really believe that, then why are you out here screaming Black Lives Matter? Why are you out here talking about the police suck and America's racist? What if you really believe that, right? If you believe America's racist, right, then you should be supporting the BAIO, and people say that we're going to give the next generation a nation of their own. Now, if you don't believe in a nation of your own, right, then there's nothing really to complain about in America. You know, if you believe, oh, we're going to change, you've been trying to change America for how long? And it's getting worse. Oh, we're going to change. And people do not want to have this conversation with me. You know, I believe that you cannot call yourself an American and all this kind of stuff like that and be anti-American. It just don't make any sense. Oh, America's racist, but it's my country, but it's racist. No, I'm like this. If America is racist and everything, then maybe it's time for what? If you have if you're in a marriage, right, and a woman comes to you, but we're the woman in the relationship right here. Black man in America, you're nothing but a woman. You know, you're a bitch. You're a house bitch. That's all you are. You know, you're in a relationship, and then you always complaining about, oh, I'm not getting a fair share. He cheats on me. He abused me. Okay, well, won't you leave him? I can't do that. You see see the relationship you have in America? Am I getting under your skin? Am I bothering you right now? Does that piss you off what I just said? You know why? Because it's the ugly truth. And the Bible says, you know, ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. If you really believe that America is the greatest country and this is your country and everything, then you have nothing to say about racism. That means you've accepted it. And there's something in your soul that does not accept it. Because you think about your ancestors. When you're reminded of what they did to our ancestors, you're reminded all the stuff that happened to our ancestors. And then when you some white person called you nigger, that triggers something in you. That brings all that back. It's trauma. And you're going through all this trauma and everything. or when you hear somebody basically, when you hear about thing talk about, yeah, those people and everything, and you're living a good life, you're minding your business, you're paying your taxes, you're doing everything you can, right? And you got to keep apologizing for who you are. You got to keep distinguishing yourself from the, oh, I'm not like the rest of them. What kind of person, what kind of way is that to live? Wouldn't it be better if you had a land of your own that you didn't have to go to? See, the thing is this, other people go through what we go through in America, but they got an escape. They got an escape. I know for a fact, I know a lot of people who go through all this. A lot of people, I know that from the Philippines, stuff like that. They say, yeah, I'm going to the Philippines for 3 weeks. Why are you going to the Philippines? Yeah, I got to get recharged. They go back among their people and they fellowship and everything like that. No group of people, right? I know even black people who from the islands. Hey, I got to go to Bermuda this week. I go for a meet, just get out, get away. I got to go to Bahamas. I got to go to Barbados. I got to go to Jamaica and everything like that, even though they're probably dealing with a lot of stuff. There's always got to be an escape. The African American has no place to go but under white people. So therefore, there's no escape. We used to have communities that we used to go back to. We're dealing with white America. Oh man, I'm going to Detroit this weekend. I'm here on family. We don't have that anymore because the white man turned all our communities, or we turned them, into war zones. Now the culture of Pookie, Ray Ray, and Craig and them with the guns and everything, the Bonquisha culture, in the ghetto and that destroyed all that. I miss the 90s. But 90s, we used to have nice shows in UPN. Still so many black shows that show black life in America. We felt like we was part of something. Now it's all gone. Now what's seen as black is ghetto and nasty and ratchet and everything. We don't have that. So don't you want to rebuild black civilization, black American, African American, and civilization on your own, where we could preserve it, we could pass it down, have continuity? It's not going to happen in America. It's not going to happen. They say, oh, now people will be scrambling. See, if you understand something, when we build this Afrikstan, right, the United States government is going to do everything they can to straighten out the problems. Hollywood's going to come in. They're going to start giving you better images of yourself. They're going to try to give you hope and everything like this, because you're going to have an alternative. You don't even understand that even if you believe in America, right, having that alternative would give you leverage, some sort of power. You don't even say that. You want to basically sit in America. The white man knows he got you. He knows he got you thing. Like you're going to sit here and you're going to one day rise up and whatnot. They ain't thinking about your ass. You saw what happened to Grandmaster Jay. They went and grabbed that nigga, right? And all his men out there, right? They parted this middle like they were parting, like Moses parted the Red Sea. And they went and they grabbed that nigga just for freaking pointing a freaking gun. Gave that nigga 20 years. That nigga singing like Mary J. Blige right now. I tell you everything. See, you understand something? There's sometimes when they say, I'll tell you everything. But when they say, I'll tell you everything, right? That means they're going to tell everything. Yeah, what do you want to know? I'll tell you everything you want to know. The bottom line is this, man. We got to stop this freaking nonsense, right? The black man in America, right? The nationalist, right? You should want your own homeland on the African continent. They said, well, we're just going to look. The bottom line is this. Nigeria has its issues, right? They got to take care of Nigeria, everything. The Ghanaians, the what's burning in our souls, the soul that we want a nation, everything. All these countries are never going to be able to satisfy us. Now you can go to Ghana, you can go to Nigeria and everything like that, but you're never going to. You're always going to feel like, damn, I'm missing my people. I'm missing my people. Who is your people? The people who share your story. See, there's a lot of things where a lot of Pan-Africanists, they try to erase their heritage. They try to erase their African American memory. So it's almost like dry cooning. What do I mean by that? There's a lot of people who go to Africa, right? And they want to escape from this race war in America that we didn't start. We're damn sure we're going to finish it. This constant race war. And I even hear some people who go to the African continent, right? And they're trying to push interracial marriage. Oh, yeah, in Africa. Yeah, the Africans do not have the experience with white people. That's why they think like that. But and I know, right? That's an abomination for the African American male. That's a man and woman. That's an abomination. That's sin. You know that. So therefore, when we go to Africa, we're going to carry that with us. We're going to carry the blood of our ancestors, souls of our ancestors with us, right? And all the Africans that were captured on slave ships and that were mutilated and done the worst thing in human history, right? They have to be vindicated. And we vindicate it by having a nation state where we have monuments celebrating them, that the whole country is set up for celebrating and acknowledgement and remembrance of the Holocaust that happened to our ancestors. No country right now does that. No country right now is set up just for this repatriation and the resettlement of stolen Africans in the West. We need that state. Until that happens, Africa is never going to develop. That state will be powerful. It will connect the diaspora inside of Africa on an equal basis. Therefore, you can live in Ghana, you can live in Nigeria, but you have that one state that has your back. You know, right now people are like, oh yeah, I'm in Ghana, and how's that working out? People in Ghana, you ain't sitting down with government officials because you don't have no government. You will go to the U.S. Embassy and say, you know something, they don't care. The U.S. Embassy is protecting whatever little interest they got in Africa. It's always them, and it's always like some NGO. They're trying to push the LGBTQ. Now, if you go over to Ghana and say, you know something, I'm a LGBTQ person, right? They'll give you all the money and support you can because you're spreading their agenda. You know, they're not going to spread no black nationalist Pan-African agenda. I mean, so I question these people, these black people, just because you got a passport and you go to Africa, it don't impress me no more. What is your agenda? What are you there? Are you trying to promote the BAIO ideology? Or are you trying to promote the white man's ideology in Africa? Are you trying to promote neo-colonialism? Are you trying to promote homosexuality, you know, and all this kind of nonsense? You try to promote swirling and race mixing. You trying to promote that in Africa, right? The BAO is clear about what we want, right? We want a nation state of our own, an African. It doesn't even have to be a nation state. It could be an autonomous territory, you know, something like a Dubai. But the bottom line is we should have autonomy. And this is where, let me tell you about the background of this, brother. How this came about with the so-called wakanda thing that Dr. Arikana, that goofy Dr. Arikana came up with. I'm going to tell some people, so I'm going to give people a history lesson, right? My friend Celeste in Angola, my partner in Angola, right? Head of the Natural Resource Bank of Angola, right? Her and I talked, and I couldn't remember when I had the idea of Afrikstan, right? And I was like, I didn't know how she was gonna. I said, look, I don't. This would be the first major time I sent it to somebody that's in power in Africa, right? And so I remember I sent this thing out, right, to her on WhatsApp, right? I said, I don't know how she's gonna receive this. Or she's like, oh, are you crazy? Y'all want your own territory and everything? I said, I didn't know, right? So I remember I sent it to her, right, and I went to bed. I woke up the next morning. She said, that's a brilliant idea. You guys, she goes, there's plenty of land in Angola to build a territory. And I was thinking about the southern part of Angola, the territory of Tambua, right? It's an abandoned port city in Angola. She said, no, she could bring it on the coast of Angola, you know? You know? Come on, nine. What are you talking about, brother? You know, the bottom line is this. I said, she said the soil region in northern Angola would be an excellent place to build a new, like Dubai, a city state, right? I said, fine. At the same time, I had Mr. Rosenthal, right? He's the head of the African Bullion Bank in the Congo and stuff like that, right? He went over there and he met with Robert Mugabe, right? And he told Mugabe, he said he knows this guy named Kala Genesis is talking about building a city state in Africa, right? So anyway, I didn't even talk about Zambia and Zimbabwe. I was talking about Angola, right? And what happened was my friend Celeste, the new government comes in, right? And she ends up, because of some misunderstanding, went to jail, right, for a couple of years, right? And she got out in 2019, Christmas Day. That was a Christmas present to me. She got out of jail. So anyway, she went to, Rosenthal left Angola, right? And he went to Zimbabwe and started talking to Robert Mugabe. And Mugabe said, that's a good idea, you know, building a city state. And right around the time that happened, the movie Black Panther comes out, right? And then Rosenthal met with Dr. Arikana. Said, oh, that'd be a perfect. I said, look, man, please, you're telling too many people. Anyway, she said, yeah, it'd be perfect. We'll build it right there on the Victoria Falls. It'd be half in Zambia, half in Zimbabwe, right? on the Victoria Falls area, right? We could build. They drew up the plans for a prototype city state, and I said to Rosenthal, I said, well, who's going to control the city state? The whole idea of us is having a city state that we control from top to bottom, that we're like that. And he said, nah, they weren't saying like that, but they wanted African Americans to settle there and rent property. And I said, that's not what we were talking about. And so it got lost in the sauce, and she started calling the area Wakanda. Now, Dr. Arikana supposedly is in Ghana right now with her Wakanda city thing. I said, look, when we say Afrikstan, we really mean what we're talking about, right? When you start calling Wakanda, you're talking about some Disney fantasy stupid shit. That was when the Black Panther came out, right? So I was kind of annoyed with that. So, but I always said, look, we should have a city state on the African continent where the diaspora, it can build, and the bottom line, we become more international. It'd be a place of business, a place of education, a place of entertainment, a place of everything, the best and brightest minds. So right now, we do not have that in Africa, right? The best and brightest minds leave the continent. Africa is suffering from a major brain drain, and that's why the continent is not growing. The continent is not growing because we have a major brain drain on the African continent. I was watching this thing years ago. We're in South Africa, right? They're still educating white people over in South Africa, right? And what happens is this. The South African government, right, unlike here in the West, the African government, they pay for people's educations. That's one thing I do give Africa. If you got good grades and everything, you will get your education paid for, okay? Not like here where you student loans and all stuff like that. Africa does invest in their people's higher education, not primary, but higher education, okay? So anyway, this white lady became a doctor, right? And to pay back the loan, she had to work in the townships for 3 years. So even while she was working in the township, she was being recruited by Canada. She said, she was showing pictures of where she wanted to move in Canada. She wanted to leave. She got her free education in South Africa, right? Did her 3-year bid in the township, and now she's off to Canada. Now, Canada is getting all that education that they would have to spend $1 million for, right? For free. Canada is going to people. These first world countries go to developing countries, right? And pick their best and brightest brains and bring them over on these visas. That's why these people like Obama champions globalism. Globalism allows for a brain drain. And this is what you have right now. This is why you had so many Africans in Ukraine. Bring your students up here, give them a passport, give them a visa and everything. Here's the thing about what's unique about African Americans. We were never part of that. For the most part, African Americans were here. You see some African Americans who go overseas. I think O'Shea was in Poland, and stuff like that. You see some exceptions. But for the most part, African Americans stay in the United States, okay? And we don't really go to countries because, these countries are really backwards compared to the United States. Poland, I wouldn't want to live in goddamn Poland. I wouldn't want to live in Ukraine. I wouldn't live in these shithole countries. I wouldn't want to live in Russia. I wouldn't even want to live in the UK. I've never been there, but I'm like, nah. There's no European country as I've seen that I want to live in, actually. And live in. Even though there's some nice parts, like you have the Netherlands look nice and stuff like that. The Netherlands is a beautiful country. Spain's a beautiful country and everything. But, thing. Yeah, the global economic growth isn't ran by chance. All Africa grows fast. Those were great. The bottom line is this: what we have in Africa right now is we still have this relationship between European masters and everything, and it's not done by force. It's done by beguilement. In other words, I was watching this thing where Julius Malema sent a letter to the French ambassador in South Africa. And this is what I'm saying when you deal with white people and everything. I don't know how the white people are going to deal with somebody like me. I don't know, because I'm very direct. Malema, although I like Julius Malema, he's just very generalizing and he's too broad in his thing, And so it comes across that he's just babbling and talking a bunch of nonsense and everything. He said France is exploiting Africa and all stuff like this. And I'm saying to myself, okay, I would have worded that better. Now, what he was expecting was the French ambassador to be like, oh, it's stupid, dismiss him. what the French ambassador do is how white people do, right? Because they know they're always one step ahead of us. Mr. Malema, thank you for your letter, right? Thank you for your concern. You know, we appreciate you. It shows that by the fact that you wrote us and your concern, we're going to take what you say really seriously. And so basically he said, Africa, we, France, are Africa's best friend, you know, and we are going to have this relationship forever. So basically what he's saying is, shut up, nigga. We're here, and there's not a goddamn thing you could do about it. In so many words, that's what he was saying. And see, why do I say this, right? Because it's all about power. When you have power, right? People who have power don't get emotional. They don't get there like this. They say, look, reality is we're here. We're all in Africa. We're all over the continent of Africa. You know it, and I know it. I know you don't like it, but we're here because you need us, or you believe that you need us. And many answers is true. Simply, Africa don't have the manpower, the brain power for many challenges. Paul Kagame did a really big thing when he basically kicked the French out. He took the French language out, brought English. Now he's integrating African language as official language over the coming years. That was a big move. That's why they hate Paul Kagame. And now the French are behind a global propaganda machine to discredit Paul Kagame. Forget about all the French involvement in Congo. They know when it comes to power, just like when that French ambassador said to Jules Malema, the Africans will go and blame Paul Kagame for what's going on in Congo and won't say a word to the Canadians, won't say a word to the Belgians. They won't say anything. Belgium still considered Congo, that Ambassador Leopold killed 10 million Congolese, butchered their hands off. Are Congolese getting any reparations? But no. Why? Because there's a fundamental fear of the white man. That they have never really dealt with African Americans and people who really don't fear white people like that. We don't have any respect for Belgium. We have no respect for France. We don't know who the fucking Queen of England is. I don't give a damn what the fucking Queen of England is. That freaking bitch had a freaking $400,000 African diamond on her head. What the fuck? France and England have gold reserves a mile high. Where's that gold come from? Africa. So I'm asking the freaking question. I'm asking my question, why is all this? Because, like I said, African brothers, man, when it comes down to the European, it's fear. We need that one state that has diplomacy, military, intelligence, and everything that could stand up to be the default state, the headquarters, the place where Europe and Africa meets. Let's say we're going to have to deal with Europe for the next couple hundred years. There needs to be that one state. The slave descendants need to be at the table. I'm sick and tired of looking at these African parliament. Oh, you're the sixth region. No, get the fuck out of here. We have a lot to offer the African continent as far as like history, everything. And just because we weren't born on a continent does not mean we don't have a voice. I ain't talking about a voice on goddamn Facebook or YouTube. I'm talking about we need to have a seat at the table. And you do so by having a territory. Now, the Afrikstan territory is not just one territory. It's also Bomani's community in Ghana. That's part of the African. Anywhere the diaspora community that we build in Ghana is part of the global Afrikstan, And then we're going to have that one state that connects it all together. That's how we're going to gauge the future as an independent people, that we're on the continent. If something goes down the continent, we should be able to help out and be part of what's going on in the African continent. Right now, what you have right now is the African Union, right? It's just nothing but a branch of the European Union. That's all it is. The African Union is nothing but, and people say, Kyle, how do you say this? Let me tell you something. The OAU was different in its origins and what they was trying to do. It was really Pan-Africanist. The African Union, right, changed the definition of Africa by geography. Right there, Morocco is a racist state, just killed 30 Africans trying to cross into Spanish territory, right? And they're still members of the African Union. They're not condemned. Nobody says anything. The Egypt is a racist state, right? And they basically call Africans dogs, and they're thing. Israel got observer status because, okay, technically Israel's close to Africa, so we'll give Israel something. But yet Haiti, one of the blackest countries on the planet, is not African enough. So in other words, African is described by the African Union, the Cunion, as geography. Why do you think white South Africans, Afrikaners, are considered African according to the new African Union? This is sellout culture. This is Negropean culture. This is Negropean ideology. The white African, Cerise Theron, right, who has a black boy, she dresses up as a girl in Africa. She's an African American. Elon Musk is an African American, you know. So basically, only with the black race could somebody come and be born in Africa and basically call themselves an African like you and I. Oh, I'm more African. I had this one guy. This called this blog called Black History, whatever. And I'm saying to myself, and I've subscribed to it and everything like that. And some white guy is in there saying, I was living in 22 African countries. I'm more African than all you guys were because I lived on the continent for 22 years. And I was born there. Whole ass white guy, long hair, looked like fucking a white Jesus Christ and shit. I didn't reply to it. I'm saying push Africa. I want to say, what the hell? If I'm subscribed to you, right? And this is supposed to be a safe space about history. Why do you freaking now said there will be there will no whatever. Believe what you want to believe, you know. But that's what we're pushing. That's what we're pushing. You know, we're pushing a state. Just as people think, oh, it's not possible. I don't see any other way. I don't see any other way. You got Africa sitting there. The continent is dying. You know, the continent is freaking dying. And the bottom line is this, you know, either we sit here and waste all this talent in America or we do build a state. Africa, we're better for it. The guy was sitting there talking about, oh, I'm African and what, just because he was white and he was born in Africa, right? Haywood, no, Afrikstan, I love it. Yeah, the idea is from the BAIO. You know, it's basically the African American, African diaspora, Jamaicans, Caribbeans, and everybody in the Canadians, everybody in the diaspora will have a homeland of their own on the African continent, and also we will bring in people who from Africa who are like-minded. We don't want tribalists. We don't want Negropeans. Okay, I envision a country where we're monitoring social media accounts. We're monitoring people's activities. You know, we're watching what people do and stuff like that. It's going to be a well-run state. And the bottom line is this: I'm gonna spend the rest of my life trying to make this happen, right? And I'm gonna give this to the next generation to build upon. I'm gonna start it off. You know, bottom line is I got enough people in the Congo and people in Angola tell me, man, what are you guys waiting for? When I introduced the Afrikstan like 7 years ago to the Angolans and all these other people, they're like, man, we've been waiting generations to hear this. You guys want to build a state on the African continent? He said, man, bring it on. Bring it on. You would have everything. But we don't have the political will. We don't even have the Pan-African community behind us. Everybody's over there. I don't know what the hell they're doing on the continent anymore, you know? They're not building anything, not being real men. They're not building it. They're not really building anything, you know? It's going over there, relaxing, chilling, drinking their Mai Tais, smoking their blunts, or whatever like that, what the fuck they're doing over the continent. The idea of the Afrikstan, the state, an African state on the continent, will give us a voice. Right now, we have no voice in America. You know, 400 years, I am sick and tired of fucking having no power. It's like I was watching this one program. It's a documentary, right? They was talking about these old black men who sit there in the deep South, right? And they're watching the trains go by. And they talk about this train and that train and everything. The train's going to go by whether they say so or not. The analogy of the thing was about black powerlessness, that you're being dismissed, that you have no say-so. God didn't make us like this. God made us to say something to the world. It should be the black man, the white man has the power to end humanity. He has a finger on the button. He could blow this whole shit up. The white man thinks he's so powerful, he's going to alter what God put in him. God created man and woman. He didn't create man, woman, other, this, that, and the other thing. She, her, and him. He said man and woman. The white man's so arrogant, right? They could take out a freaking city like Nagasaki and Hiroshima, when they didn't have to. They could do whatever they want. They could basically, and the white man in America goes around the world and he spreads propaganda about us while the low down bastards send us off to war to fight their countries, fight their wars. You sent my brothers and sisters and our forefathers to fight in your wars and die in your wars and whatnot. And then when they come back over this country, you lynched them. This is the devil, the beast we're dealing with in America. This is what we're dealing with. And I'm sick and tired of playing games with this topic. It's time for us to say it's time for a divorce. It's time for us to part ways with the white American. No more half in, no lukewarm shit and whatnot. It's time for us to part ways. People say, Carl, I never heard you talk like this. This is what I really feel. Now, I'm not saying everybody got to get on the thing, but in our mind. And the only way we're going to do that is we have that focal point. If all the African American slave descendants where you live in Japan, China, all over the world, globe now, right, had that one focal point like Israel, like the Jews have with Israel. That state, politically, what you call it, Israel is what? A Jewish state. Now, some people would like to make Israel a multicultural, transgender, gender neutral Palestine, and Israel would fucking fall. And the Jewish Zionists know that. That's why they keep it a Jewish state. And in the future, right, like I said, Europe is going multicultural, multiracial. Right now, England doesn't even know itself. Oh, yeah. Well, the bottom line is this. There were British people who said, look, because we got this thing called the royal family, they have this huge empire. Now we got all these people from all over the world living in London. Do you know in parts of London looks like friggin' Istanbul or Pakistan and shit like that, People have Sharia law in the country that talk about the British. This is what they call multiculturalism and everything. I don't believe in multiculturalism. I don't believe in multiracial societies. I don't believe in them. I believe a nation state should be a nation. Nation should be a people, right? That means you assimilate into the people. Now, those of us who are African slave descendants, we carry the burden of our ancestors. Our African brothers and sisters don't carry that. So in our creed, our mind, everything that's built in our nation state is going to reflect and be everything that our experience was in the West. They said, well, why? Because our culture and what we went through cannot die. If that happens, then that means that 400 years of everything that white man did to us, right, was erased. Europeans one day are going to answer for slavery. And the only way they're going to answer for slavery if we're strong enough to make them answer for slavery. And the only way we're going to do that, right, is having a strong nation of our own. And that's why in Afrikstan is so important. The Nigerians never going to be able to stand up to the West. Ghana's never going to be standing up. Liberia's never going to stand up. These countries are good places to go to and visit and stuff like this. But what we're talking about tonight is this. It's time for the black people and the slave descendants to say, where's our justice? Where's our land? Who speaks for us? Who's making the people who put us in chains pay for what they did? You can't say, okay, let's just forget. No, it don't work like that. They don't forget you're black, right? A black man robs a convenience store or whatnot, and whatnot, they're going to make sure that, oh man, not all of us are bad. They don't even care. They don't even care what their ancestors did. Yeah, we did. What are you going to do about it? I ask her, what can we do about it? And their whole thing is, look, nigga, you like Tony Soprano said to one guy, a soldier. Tony Soprano had one of his soldiers' twin brother killed, Patsy. I remember episode, right? And Tony was like, and Patsy found out whatever like that, right? He was moping around like that, all bitter and everything. Then finally Tony just went to him and said, look, you got a problem? What do you mean? He goes, you've been moping around, And I guess Patsy understood that. Look, okay, Tony's confronted me about my mourning and about my brother. He goes, yeah, but you're making a lot of money right now. You just bought your daughter a house. Reminded him that with me, you're making a lot of money, And he goes, and you put your brother behind you, right? Yeah, sure. Let me hear you. Tony says, let me hear you say it. Okay, I'm fine. I put my brother behind me. And Tony goes, okay, I'm gonna go outside and have something. I'm gonna come right back. Basically, that's what's called G checking. That's what's called bossing up on somebody. I know I fucked up, but the bottom line is this: if you push me, I will fuck you up. And that's what we have in America with all these apologizing niggas all the time. Talking about, oh yeah, but there's no forgiveness for slavery. Now, I don't come out and say it publicly and whatnot. I got to work in the real world. But if you really want to ask me and everything, I hope people don't ever ask me. You ask me and whatnot. Oh yeah, so end the conversation. Let's talk about something else. Hey, how was the game last night? That's what white people do. They get around you. Oh yeah, man, the slavery wasn't that bad. Yeah, Irish were slaves too. When it wasn't. No. I don't even want to be around those type of. If you're around those type of white people, you better check yourself. Because if you're around white people, one thing, if they really respect you or not, they'll never bring that topic up. Or when they do, they're like, look, I can't tell you how you must feel. But when they project onto you like, oh, you should be great and everything like that. Why? Because you see some basketball player, you see your Shaquille O'Neals and all your people, they always fucking have, I should be like that. Shaquille O'Neal's worth $1 billion. I'd be fucking happy all the time too. But when they come to you and everything like that, oh yeah, you're doing good. And like, yeah, look, I'm doing good. But just like, let me tell you something about Jews, right? You'll never go up to a Jew and say, oh, the Holocaust wasn't that bad. You leave that alone. Why? Because it's respect. When you meet a Cambodian, right, they'll say, oh, Pol Pot wasn't such a bad guy. Look, how do you say that? You might get into a fight. You go down to Miami. As people don't like Castro. You leave it alone. Only the black man in America and the West, they feel they have the right to pick at our wounds. If we feel some way about slavery, leave it the fuck alone. Oh, but I don't see why you better. And this is, let me tell you something, folks. This is a really difficult part of this discussion, How can you join the BAL social network? I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. Join the social network. Join our social network. Download the app. We have a social network for this. What was I gonna say? Oh, Jesus, slipped my mind. God damn, slipped my mind. But if you go up to people and you don't respect who they are, they're gonna be pushback. The black man in America, nobody respects who we are. People will tell us what we ought to feel. We don't know how black people feel. Matter of fact, after slavery, we were just forgot about it. Worst thing we could ever done was just move on and forget about slavery, forget about all stuff. And a lot of us don't even like reminded of slavery. There's some black people who are saying slavery never existed because it's so painful. We were already here. Prove that the slave ship is in. That's going around the internet. Why? Because our people in pain. What happened to us was the worst thing that ever happened in human history. And the same people that did that to us, we make us salute their flag. And this is what we're talking about. The future generations have to have an alternative, or we're going to keep losing our youth. We're going to keep using it. Now, I'm just saying that we have to wait on this, the Afrikstan. Part of the Afrikstan is joining the BAO. Part of the Afrikstan is joining Brother Bomani's community, Get involved. We got other people that's building on the continent. Our brother Brandon, Brother Diane Samir, get involved in the Pan-African movement. Go on tours. Buy property in any country in Africa you want to and everything like that. Plant some roots down. All that's part of the Afrikstan. The stronger we are on the continent, the more this is going to become reality. Go to any country you want to, but understand the only way we're going to have we're never going to be completely peaceful in all these countries. And a lot of times the countries will tell you, man, y'all can't bring that radical stuff to this continent because, you know, okay, they got stuff to do. They got white tourists. We get that. But we need that one state that is radical. That one state that it does talk for us, you know, that does speak for us. I remember I read a blog a couple of years ago, back in 2010, about the former president of Ghana, John Kufuor. Remember that character, Bomani?
Yes, exactly. I remember. That's when
Yeah,
the time I was going to Ghana back in those days.
yeah. Remember that goofball got this George Bush Highway built in Ghana, George W. Bush Highway. Whatever. He was a clown, you know. Well, anyway,
The Bush Highway.
Yeah, yo, this guy basically, I guess something went wrong. This is what I'm talking about, right? I think we're learning a little more about each other, right? There were some African Americans that went over there, right? And they were talking at a Pan-African conference, whatever, you know. I guess it went left, you know, because they had whites there and everybody there. And the whites are coming there talking this development and stuff like that. And they're like, wow, the black man. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the white people felt uncomfortable, you know, about some of this talk, you know, that was going around, right? And John Kufuor said, look, man, we got to get past this black-white stuff, you know, and move on, you know, in other words, basically telling the black people, the African Americans, diaspora, Jamaican, whatever, y'all got to shut the fuck up, you know. You know, we got business to do with all kinds of people and races like this. If race ain't the one thing that fucking unites you, right? Like the Asians, like and everything. You'll never hear a Chinese guy tell another Chinese man, "Oh, it's not about China. It's not about being Chinese, whatever, like that." You know, it's all about the human. Get the fuck out of here. Chinese are trying to win. You know, they're trying to win. They're trying to win. Asians are becoming under one united force. You know, think about it. You got China, Japan, two powerhouses right next to each other. You know, you got South Korea, you got Singapore. Where are our versions of these cities? For those who talk, oh, we don't need a friggin' Afrikstan. Are you fucking kidding me? We need our own super states. We need to have at least a few of them. I ain't talking about these developing. Oh, we're struggling. But the bottom line is, we have black. The Chinese and Asians don't have 200 million of their wealthiest and the brightest trapped behind enemy lines in the West. That's the problem. Not only is the Afrikstan important to the slave descendants, what about all the friggin' the African students, right, who got to go overseas to study, and they end up staying in Europe for 30 years? How is that benefiting the continent? And like I was saying earlier, right, because we have a new slave trade going on. It's called the visa, your green card slave trade, where you basically get on the thing and you get your grades and everything, and next thing you know, some European company or whatever is hiring you to come to Europe or come overseas, or some international company, and your country is not benefiting. Are we serious about really developing the continent? You cannot develop a continent without human capacity. And Africa has to get into the game of not only getting the global money supply, but the human capital supply. There's only a certain amount of engineers. China produces like 100,000 engineers a year. Well, how many Africans are producing? Not much. And the Africans that do that end up working for foreign companies, or they go overseas. So what I'm saying is this, though: the focus point of Afrikstan will basically be all about connecting the whole global black family together. That means not means everybody got to go there. That means that if you live in Dallas, Texas, you're part of the satellite. You're part of the community. If you live in Alaska, you live in Montana, you got John Hill up in Montana, whatever. You know, you're part of this global thing. We have to start thinking globally. And the whole thing is this: the black people in the West need their own power base. You know, we cannot. If we have 200 million black people in the West, right? What happens when that population doubles to 400 million? You see, 400 million people cramped in behind among white-controlled governments. How powerful? If you and this is what I understand is this. and what I meant to talk about in the top of the show, why did I come up with the Afrikstan, right? Because I studied history. And I really believe, after studying African history and African American history, that we're capable of it. People who are opposed to Afrikstan, if you're African American, believe that this is all we could do, be ruled by white people. You know, our ancestors built Liberia, and it was a remarkable feat of achievement. Imagine what we can do in this day and age with the technology. All we need is a mindset. Some people are resigned, just talking about racism. I'm tired of talking about racism. But the answer to the riddle is, how do you solve racism? A nation of your own. You know, a nation of our own, a nation that takes in the fact that who is going to settle in this country? Slave descendants. What do they need? Protection. From who? The white man, the white race. You know, we don't have any country in the world that protects us from white people or the white race, because they're welcome in any country in the world. But we need a country that puts us first. That basically, when we talk about a nation, let me talk about what a nation is, right? There's two things. There's a nation and the state. Okay, and I wrote a blog about this. If you join the Ning site, you'll see the blogs I wrote. A nation and a state. They're called a nation state. The nation is the people, right? Now, what is a nation, right? The nation is the people, and it's private sector, business, and everything, right? It's up to the state through laws to make sure what's identified as a nation has first dibs. Now, in certain territories like the Soviet Union, you may have multi-nations in one territory. So you may have this group and everything. Usually they're confined to a territory. But the government says, okay, you know, we recognize this territory as land of the Tajikistan, whatever like that, you know, okay, former Soviet Union, everything like that, but you're part of the Soviet Union. But they recognize there were separate nations inside the thing. The state says, okay, we're the balance between the nation, people, and its minority groups. You always have nation is what the homogeneous population, the majority. And then you got minority groups, guests, permanent residents, you know, and all these other things. The nation is the people. See, right now what we have is there's a line blurred in America. America is being destroyed because it doesn't define itself as a nation anymore. It defines anybody can walk across the border, vote, whatever. America is a dying civilization because the whole thing is a nation state is the most powerful thing humanity has ever come up with. And so therefore, all these people that is trying to discredit the nation with this thing like the European Union, so that's not the way it works. I don't believe in multicultural and societies and everything. I do believe a citizen, right, of a nation state should come priority. A state, the republic, should protect its citizen. That's the nation. Some people call that fascism. I call it fascism, call it what. That's what I believe in. It's funny how things that black people were never able to try, people are always so against. Oh man, that's fascism. That's fascism. What, you have any other term? Sounds good to me. If I have a nation state of my own, right, then my government is everything the government does is going to protect my interests. My borders, the government protects me. My borders, militarily, the government protects me. My overseas investment, my government protects me. Our government protects everything. Criminality, we have courts, we have laws, everything like that to make sure that works. Education, the government provides that. The general welfare, that's what the state provides, the general welfare. Now, the state and the nation are two different things. The state basically is about the laws, everything like this. Now, for the most part, a nation, right, is it's like a shell. You look at a shell where, let's say, a crab is inside of a shell. The state is like the shell. The crab is inside and everything like that, but it's protected by this exoskeleton called the shell. That's what a state is. Borders, you know, whatever comes in this thing, your monetary system, your laws, everything. That's protection. That allows you to live your life inside these borders, these state. That's what's called a nation state. But when you don't have a state, right, you don't have anything protecting you. If you are overseas and everything, yeah, everybody longs for this sort of governance. You know, everybody longs for. We're capable of doing this. You know, we're capable of doing this. There's no, I mean, right now, basically arguing over Democrats, Republicans, and all that. We're capable of doing this. All we need is the right leadership to say, you know, something. This is what we need. We need to be able to govern ourselves. And then when we govern ourselves, we can solve all our problems. We can give people a sense of peace. All right, you will see crime between black on black will go away. You will see these gender wars go away. You'll see all this stuff. We'll have peace and harmony because we'll be in our own situation. But some black people cannot fathom, I don't know. I believe in both a hybrid of socialism and capitalism. I believe people should be able to make money, but I do believe the state should be able to give everyone a basic standard of living and a basic income and basic like that by default. I do believe the state should be able to provide people from the basics, basic healthcare, education, and basic things, and build build a middle class. That's what I believe in. I believe the nation, the backbone of the nation is the black family, right? See, you cannot fall to the state. If the family structure broke up, then you're relying on the state. The nation is supposed to be so self-sufficient. All the state does is come in and say, okay, families and everything like that are doing well. We're just here to protect it. But when people don't build families and they don't build like that, then what happens is the state got to come in and basically provide for you and everything. We don't want that. We want a nation of people that know how to build things like families, businesses, and networks and stuff like this, communities. When you build your own communities and everything like that, and you're build your own institutions and everything like that, then the state is fine. But when you don't build all those things and everything, what happens is the state becomes totalitarian and everything. It's a nation state is a responsibility. And the only way that works is you have to have a sense of nationalism. When you have a sense of nationalism, like John F. Kennedy says, ask not what your country could do for you, but you could do for your country. You have a sense of duty. That's why back in the day they had the Boy Scouts and stuff like that, You have a sense of duty. You have a sense of purpose. We have to teach that to our youth and everything. And I say, look, the state is only here to protect you and provide the basics and everything, but you have to become who you are. You have to become character. It's about character and building and all these things. And that's what a nation, we can never do. People say, that sounds good, Carl, do it here. We cannot do that inside another people's country. We'll never be a nation inside of America. And that's what black people crave for. Everything tells me, let's build black businesses. Let's build Black Wall Street. Let's build it. Everything tells me that black people in America really want their own nation. But they think they're going to have it inside they're going to have it inside the borders of America. It's not going to happen. We saw what happened with Black Wall Street. We saw what happened to all these promising territories that we thought that we were going to build. We'll hop to Harlem. Everything we have, we lose. Why? Because we have to have our own land to build it on. You cannot build your old Jamaican proverb. You cannot build your house on shifting sand. You have to have our own land, our own state, our own Afrikstan. We have to have our own state to build infrastructure, build roads, highways, infrastructure. We have to have that. And then all the stuff that we talk about will be like ease. Build families. I want a good life. I want safe communities. We could build that when you're in your own context. We have to have our own government. We have to have all those things that basically sustain people. We're no different than any other. We got the same intelligence that anybody else have. You got to look at a country like Vietnam, man. Freaking country was a piss poor third world country. Now look at it. I'm looking at a country like Bangladesh, third world of the third world. Now they're up and running with skyscrapers and everything. What's wrong with the black man of the diaspora? That means all of us, Jamaicans, Haitians, all of us, basically building a new state on the African continent, where our best and brightest are coming over and bringing their skills and ingenuity and stuff like this, where we can elect our own parliament government and everything like that. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. It's the ideal thing to do. It's the ideal thing to do. I'm putting a link to the social network. And then you can join us at ning.com. Ning.com. And also download the app.
All right, let me see where that is at, and I will put it on there. So it should go into private chat. So
Okay.
as soon as we post it, I will copy and paste it.
Well, I put it in the chat room on the thing. I put it in the chat room on the show. And also the app. Download the app. BAO Global Pipeline.
All right,
That's
perfect.
the app. Global Pipeline. That's the app. You know, join us. And like I said, this conversation is long overdue. You know, and I'll be frank with you, right? And all the stuff I said like this, people, oh, we don't need an Afrikstan, right? Yeah, they go to Tanzania, man. And I was so disappointed. My brother got a house got robbed in Ghana. I think the rivals they got robbed in Gambia. You know, busted into. Oh, these aren't our people. I don't want them people thinking like that. Some bad Gambians did that, and they said we gotta leave or not. You know, on a bad experience and everything. You know, and so they said, oh, the police don't care and everything like that. You know, and all the things we talk about. People want to live on the African continent, but we need our own space. We need our own space to build these things that we're talking about. You know, we need our own security. We need our own be able to look out. We able to provide for. We need our own healthcare system. You know, we need all these things in the coming future. And I'm not telling people to wait on the African. If you want to live in Ghana and everything like that, yes, that's fine. But understand that if you're a slave descendant, you are technically an Afrikstani. You know, you're part of this Afrikstan movement. Once you live on the continent and you're African American from the diaspora, you're part of the same thing. You know, once you left the continent by slavery, that's never the same. You're never going to be fully integrated back in African culture and society. It's never going to happen because you always got that memory. Unless you're trying to erase the memory of slavery, you can't do that. You know, you cannot do that. You know, and everything we do is based on the fact that our ancestors, what happened to our ancestors. Even our affinity to Africa is because, that's where Africa was stolen from. But a lot of Africans don't even know a slave trade even happened. You know, and so they're approaching the world with this idea that, what's race? We basically in the West are basically understand. When people say, Kala, man, Garvey was a black man through and through. When he spoke, he was the first black man, and he was from the islands. He said, "This is all the black people said. This is what I've been thinking all along." So don't tell me Garvey wasn't one of us. Are you crazy? Garvey was he was a man. Now he's from Jamaica, and Brother Bomani is a modern day Garvey. You know, Garvey was supposed. He said the black man. You know, and what he's talking about now, a lot of people from the African continent, they're like, man, oh man, who's this Garvey? We don't like that. I get that. That's not your life. But those of us who are in the West, right, and those of us who are slave descendants, we understand exactly what Garvey's talking about. You understand exactly why? Because we went through this. Now, black people in South Africa, basically, because they went through white oppression. So they can relate to us a little more because they went through this. But people haven't been through what we went through, you know, and everything like that. It's just not going to resonate with them. It's not going to resonate why we want to even come to the continent. Why you want to come here? Because, you know, we're so poor. So that we see the potential. You know, we see the potential. We see Africa. We see, oh my God, look at all that land. Look at that territory. This is what we can do. That's our mind. You know, we're used to building things in the West, you know, and stuff like that. We watched America go from a rocky woodland area to cities on the coast of America and throughout the great North America and everything. We watched that. We participate in the building of this country. So it's in us to want to build and create and expand and stuff like that. It's in us. It's in our genes, our DNA. And so I'm saying like this, it's a win-win situation when you basically, and so, well, the question I want to ask right now is people want to ask is, how would Africa benefit from an Afrikstan? First of all, if we have this state, who do you think 80% of our goods will come from? Surrounding African countries. Who will basically, if you basically bring economy in the hundreds of billions of dollars a year GDP, and this nestled in the African continent, who stands to benefit? Who do you think? What if we're a Pan-African state? Who are we going to look to import goods from first? Are we going to China? Or are we going to look to our brothers and sisters in Africa? Of course, Africa. See, no other African state exists like that. You know, despite all of them talking about, oh, we're going to have a Pan-African this, a Pan-African this, you know. You know, somebody said, do you think Africa give us land? The whole thing is we look, the land is already offered, you know. it's not that the Africans won't give us land, right, for the state, right? We have to have people that's going to go there and settle on it. There's land already available in the Congo and Angola and stuff like that, but you got to get people to go there. It's not going to be, oh, there's land and whatnot. Africans are like, we don't look stupid. There's a part of Angola called Cabinda. That's a province in North Angola that Angola doesn't even claim. That's oil rich. And they're like, this one guy, Cabinda guy said, "Yeah, man, you African Americans want to come here and whatnot." There's plenty of places in Africa over the years. There's plenty of places. And it doesn't mean like overnight we got to set up a government, but we have to settle there, at least build communities. At least we have numbers, and then it'll happen organically. I'm not saying just come bum rush the coast and take over territory. I'm saying if we have a territory like in the northern part of Angola, and we start building communities and opening businesses and stuff like that, and we start populating the area, eventually, just like anything else, eventually, we'll be able to have some sort of all we really need is municipalities. That's all we need. We don't have any municipalities on the African continent. We have no, okay, we control this and everything. That means anybody comes in and comes out, they got a border checkpoint and everything. They got a magistrate's office. We got a court system and everything like that. We have no way of taxing people, and stuff like that. We have no anything on outside of America. We have nothing. We don't have that in America. We have no power. A state or county and all that stuff like that. When you see that seal, that's power. That means somebody has the power to arrest your black ass, and put your ass in jail. That's the power. The people have the power of seizing your property. People have power. That's the reality of having power. You have power to fuck shit up if you need to be. That's what it is. We don't have any power anywhere in the friggin' world as a people, as a black people. Now, Africans have power. They have courts. They have all the stuff like this. But the African American, African diaspora, 200 million of us in the world, we have no power. We have no power. We have no say-so in the world. How can you basically have how can you surrender the whole world to whites, Chinese, everybody else, and you just said, I'm not gonna have no power. Everything that goes on in DC, all these corrupt politicians and everything like that, let them do what they want to do. We have no say so. Even though when I look, we're smarter than most of these people that govern us. We're smarter than most of these. I swear to God. When I listen to some of the intellectual debates we have on Diane Show and stuff like that, we blow these people the fuck away. These people make you think they got power. They got this smart, but they're not. They make mistake after mistake. Look at the freaking Iraq war. They see the whole thing is with their shit, right? They know they can get away with this shit, and you'll freaking forgive them. The whole Iraq war was a complete debacle. But because they're white, you forgave them about it. You forgot, oh man, so what? 4,000 American troops were killed. 10 million Iraqis displaced and everything. Oh, okay, let's just move on. A royal fuck up. The crash of 1929, Wall Street crash. They was forecasting that. Look, man, people buying too much on credit. They crashed, went to international depression. Right? They came back from it. Took a decade and a half to come back from it or not. You still believe in the white man. You still believe in his system. This idiot Joe Biden just shut down the Keystone Pipeline and everything. You're paying $5 for gas. But you won't even give yourself a chance to believe in yourself. When a white man's up there and whatnot, he could fuck your life up. These guys are playing a game right now in Ukraine that could lead to all of us death with nuclear war. If a nuclear war head goes off with it, do you know they said look, a good third of the planet would die? But you don't care about that. Massa got everything in charge. When America might be in a nuclear war, Putin's not playing. But I ride with Joe Biden and whatnot. This fucking fool might freaking start a nuclear war. And in America gets nuked, we're going down with America. Yeah, all the mom and pop stores are gone. Black civilization as we know it is dying in America. The gangs, the drugs, and all this kind of fuck culture that America promotes for us and whatnot is gone. I'm gonna give my ancestors credit, man. Back in Bill Cosby tried. He gave us an image to model ourselves by with his TV shows and everything like that. In the 90s, we had so many shows on UPN showing black life in America, and stuff like this. We were trying to build stores and build communities and everything like that. All that's fucking dead now in America. Now I say it's time for the journey home. It's time for a nation of our own. It's time to take the best of what we are in America and learn all the sin, like Marcus Garvey said, the sins of the past and everything. He said, I wait for 200 years if need be to meet our enemies for our posterity. You know, he says, in death, I'll rise, in death, I'll be a terror to the foes of the Negro liberation. You know, the bottom line is this, right? It's time. It's time for us to think. It's time for us to build a nation for ourselves. That Pan-Africanist state, that Afrikstan that I've dreamed about and I've visioned for years, for decades and whatnot, now it's time for me to push this. I've been playing around. I heard all the arguments and everything like this and like this. You know, it's time. It's time for the black man in America to basically say it's time to part ways. It's time for us and the white man in America to freaking go our separate ways. It's time they say, well, integrating Africa. Yeah, we're going to integrate Africa from a position of power. That means that we integrate Africa from our own state, right? And through diplomacy, through all these things like this, because we need a state to protect who we are, our identity. Why? Because one day we're going to have confrontation with the people that enslaved us. The only way to guarantee that is the fact that the only way to guarantee that is we have to have a nation, build this super state of our own. And then these people are going to meet us face to face, eye to eye. We can't go to Africa and just hide. This confrontation, right, the avenging of our ancestors and whatnot has to happen. It won't happen in our lifetime, but we got to make sure the next generation are going to have the tools to deal with these people, face these people, because it's inevitable. Yeah. It's funny you said that because I sometimes work in the projects and have permanent, constant making excuses. Yeah. Bottom line is this. You got to understand somehow how this works, bro. It's fear. The gangbangers, let me tell you, bro, I call them deadly clowns and everything, but these guys are real. You better take them seriously. Take them seriously. You know, these people can kill you and get away with it. They can murder you. There's a reason why there's guns. Do you think in an African state everybody would have guns and shooting off? You think that would happen? No. You think by the sound of my voice, if I have anything to do with it when all this stuff will be going on? No. Don't you think we'll have things like the death penalty and everything? I'm not playing games. See, when you're playing games, no. It's going to come a time where you might see that, you know, the day we have our own nation, whatnot, people are going to come test us. They're going to see what they can get away with. They're going to try us. Just because somebody's black or they're African American don't mean they mean us any harm. They're going to test us. They're going to test us. I thought look, nation and the state. The state has the right, the thing of protecting the nation from internal and external destruction enemies. The state has a right to capital punishment, to deal with treason and stuff like that. The nation has a right to exist and everything like that. There's rights that the state have, and there's rights the nation has. The nation's rights are enshrined in a constitution. The state has ultimate power to basically eminent domain and basically say this is what's going on, declare martial law and everything to make sure that state exists. The state has a right to set who we have diplomatic relationships with, who we talk to, who we do business with, who we trade with, what trading relationship we have. That's the duty of the state. The people, the nation thing is to make sure the people making those decisions are the right people. You do that through your vote and being well informed. See, all these things right here that I'm talking about, I said, man, that makes sense, man. We have a nation state of our own and everything like that. And what we need, this is Marcus Garvey originally, but they made Marcus Garvey out to be a clown, a buffoon, and these niggas that want to stay in America. Look at us now. Everything he predicted 100 years ago is coming to pass. You know, everything he predicted the crime rate and all the degradation you see in America, he predicted that 100 years ago. And funny, brother talked about crime, right? One of the things why people create a nation is to protect themselves from the criminal element, to protect you from yourself, you know, protect you from yourself. That's why we have laws. That's why we have order. That's why we have punishment. That's why we have reward. You do this and everything. If your country, right now, if you live in a country and your country can't provide basic thing where you can pull yourself everything, then you don't have a country. You need to get rid of that country and start a revolution. I can say that to any country in Africa. If your country is letting people rob your minerals and everything like that, and you're still living in poverty, then you don't got a real nation state. You got a colonial project that you inherited. And stop lying to yourself. Your nation belongs to the Queen of England, the French, and all these other people. And Afrikstan is going to be an African state run by Africans, black African people. We're not going to have no Commonwealth, the French Union, this. We're going to be an independent African state. And the bottom line, the only thing we have is connection to the African American slaves, the most powerful group of people on the freaking planet. We're going to have that pipeline. That's why we created a BAL global pipeline. You know, it's black African infrastructure. Now we'll say, well, Kala, well, other Africans, look, if you basically a black African and you feel like we do, you're more than welcome. You're a brother. But if you're a Negropean, like I hear that clown Mike O and everything like that, and all these goofy ass some of these Nigerians and everything, if you're a Negropean, stay away from me. Stay away from me. Just because you're African, I've seen more freaking buck dancing Negropeans on the African continent than I've ever seen in Black America. And you wonder why the continent is fucked up. Yeah, we're gonna, like I said, the bottom line is this, man. You know, there's some people don't want this Afrikstan. Why? Because if you think we're just gonna sit back no, we're gonna make sure that our continent is liberated. All these people that are puppets for the Europeans and everything, what do you think we're gonna do? And we have the power, we have the military and everything. Of course, what do you think we're going to do? It's going to come down to this one day. People laugh, oh, you guys, the day comes, man. The bottom line is, let me tell you something. It's a story, folks. When you're around your best friends, buds, and everything like that, right? And one of your boys basically, you always clowning on you, joking on you. Sometimes it looks good, right? But when somebody don't take you seriously, they use your name to like that, you got to check that person. Right now, the Pan-African world, the problem is people have no respect for us. The Pan-African world right now don't have any patron saints. There's no billionaires backing us. Dangote is not backing us. There's none of these Nigerians and everything. So I don't give a flying fuck what anybody thinks anymore. These guys have never lifted a finger to help this cause. They don't say, oh, I see the BA. I see what you're talking about. No. They're more, they'll take their money and buy luxury cars, jets, and then party with European models and all shit like this. That's the Negropean right now. And because they're on the continent, we just think, oh, they're holding it now. Get the fuck out of here. They're all race traders. And the whole thing is that people don't respect you, don't fear you, don't respect you. And that's the problem. Nobody fears Pan-Africanism. There's no consequences for race traders. People do what they want to do. They let things like this president of Equatorial Guinea. This guy don't even have African bodyguards. He has all Israeli. He don't even trust all the people. They put him in power. The oil companies put him in power so they can make billions of dollars. And his son, the state of California, sees his son like 6 Lamborghinis. Well, this guy travels all over the world and yachts. He got yachts, 6 Lamborghinis and 2 yachts in Malibu, California. This is what you have. And all we're saying is, we as African American diaspora, how come we don't have any of those oil blocks off the coast of Africa? When are we going to have something for ourselves? We're watching Africa give the continent away to the Europeans, Arabs, and everybody else. And all we're saying is we just want a city-state, a territory that we could launch ourselves, settle ourselves and everything, build our own military, and build our own diplomatic channels and everything, that's too much to ask for? While you're giving land away, you're taking land away from the Maasai, giving it to Arabs and everybody else. Right now, Saudi Arabia is sorry because Sudan is not selling them any water rights. Water is vital in Africa. We have the technology to drill water in the Kalahari Desert and all this stuff like that, and produce billions of metric tons of water. We have all this knowledge and everything like that here in the West, you know? We could build up our own schools, laboratories, science institutes, and everything. We have the BAO STEM group and everything. We need more people joining that. You know, that's the stuff we talk about. Science and development. We have the BAO Land Development Agency in our social network. I just need people to join, and one day we're going to make these institutions. What I'm saying right now, folks, this is the future. Bomani and I talked about this, right? The future is the BAO. We can't keep playing around with people. Playing around. You know, I appreciate people with their tours and all stuff like this, but now it's time to be like this. If you look at the situation with Black people in the West, the poverty you see in the Caribbean and all stuff like this, we have to have a revolution. And this is a revolution. The idea of building an Afrikstan is a revolution. The idea that we have a new state on the country. Look at South Sudan. Declared its independence, right? It had 99% illiteracy rate. They declared their independence because it was sitting on a lot of oil. Billions of dollars came in. They got pipelines and everything, a port built by Kenyan government. South Sudan, 99% of the people were primitive, living in were herders, were with cattle and stuff like that. 99% of people can't read and write. But the world recognized them in 2011, 12 as a new independent nation.
Yes, 2011.
You know, and you tell me the most advanced people on the planet, African Americans, can't build their own state? Yeah, we know we're capable. We just don't have the mind. The chains are on our mind. And it's up to Africa to make that possible. Yes, this is a territory. This is what we're going
to do. That's a great example. Just like you made a great example when you used Dubai.
Yeah.
The desert, literally. So it's really this. It's a mentality also. But
Dubai is nothing but sand. They reclaimed desert from water from the thing and built whole island cities from reclaimed earth from the sea.
There you go, family. And the key point is South Sudan, 2011, the newest country.
Bro, when I heard that, man, I was happy for them, but I was depressed.
You see, and you're serious.
Negroes in America,
97% illiteracy rate. But one thing they have is they have their land.
They have their land, determination. If you don't have land, you ain't shit in this world. You don't exist.
So I know some of the things that you're talking about made us get people like, hey, you want to have a what? You know, family, you know, we don't make these decisions, but, you know, we have to talk about everything. We have to look at all of our options on the table. You know, I'm sure if that state was going down and I've been able to literally progress a lot further than I have in just general Africa because the connections are there, you know, and it's made for
us,
Northern Africans from the diaspora. So, you know,
like Israel is set up for
another great point.
You know, they're set up for Jews around the world. You want to settle there? You got Jewish people that basically, I know when I was a kid, I had Jewish kids that said, I'm going to Israel, Tel Aviv for the summer, you know, and they're on the beach and everything like that. Everything like that. You say, yeah, I'm just going there for the summer. And they work on a kibbutz, what they call a kibbutz, or communal farm, stuff like that, where they grow oranges and shit, you know. It's a collective farm, everything like that, you know. I know Italian kids that used to go to Italy for the summer, Sicily for the summer, and everything like that. You know, the bottom line is this: if you're a Jewish person, you could go to a thing. Now, here's a problem: the Jews are not all the same. Like a lot of Russian Jews didn't like Israel. You know, they didn't like it. You know, some Jews go there, like Hasidics, they'll go there and said it's too modern. You know, and Hasidics, they said it's too modern, it's too secular. You know, but then there's some Jews that love it. They're like, okay, if I want to do that, right? Then there's some Jews that basically like, well, we want everybody doing the Torah. You know, if you ever see Hasidic Jews, those guys don't even watch television. You know, they can't tell you a sports team. They're completely into the Torah, everything. They said that's what Jew, but the Jewish state is secular. Do you know, brother, that the Jewish state Israel came from Liberia? You know,
Liberia.
let me tell you something. Theodore Herzl, right, was a friend of Edward Wilmot Blyden. You know, Edward Wilmot Blyden came from the Virgin Islands, right? But he was a father of Pan-Africanism, you know? And basically, he said that we should build a state for because black people should return to build a state in their homeland, right? When Liberia was up and running, right? Theodore Herzl said, yeah, the Jewish people should have a state. Now, here's the thing. Most Jews in Europe hid their ethnic identity. And you know Elvis Presley had Jewish ancestry, but he hid it? The reason why, even though Jews were white and everything, right? Something inside them said, I want to live in a place where I could be openly Jewish. That's all. They weren't really, but the religious Jews, like, oh yeah, what's up? But that wasn't the case. A lot of people were secular, right? Even weren't even prayerful, right? But the fact that they were Jewish heritage, right? They said the state of Israel was a place that they could practice being Jewish. The original Israel was supposed to be actually be in Uganda. People don't even realize that, right? They said the British said, okay, let's build a Jewish state on the Lake Victoria. And then what happened was a lot of Jews started migrating to Palestine, right? They start going there, say, yeah, we're going to set up state. So when brother asked me, we're going to get this territory. You go there. If there's a territory earmarked, right, on the continent for an Afrikstan, you just start going there. You know, just like you just start going there. You start migrating there. You start going there and seeing what you can do to set up shop, you know. Do you know Jews wanted Israel so bad after World War II? A lot of Jews were rich. They built tents on the banks of where Tel Aviv is right now. They said they were living in camps. They left nice lives in Europe just to live on the banks of Tel Aviv, so they knew they wanted to hold that land and become a state. And they're still celebrating to this day. The black man in America problem is he does not want a state of his own. He doesn't want to part ways with America. The bottom line, if we want that state in Afrikstan, you have to go there. We have to basically find a territory and occupy it. That's all. You know, and it'll eventually become what you say it is, you know? You know what I'm saying? If you basically got a population and you got people coming in and stuff like that, and you basically you're going to get assistance from the host country or whatever like that. So, hey, yeah, look, we're building a new territory over here. Let's do this, you know, because they're going to see the benefits of it. You know, that's what it is. But to do nothing isn't. Now, let's say, well, what about the people? Look, I have no problem with people, what they're doing in Ghana, Liberia, and everything. That's all part of it. You know, that's all part of it. Buying land in Africa, buying a home, everything like that. The more people on the continent, the better. You know, I'd rather have 1 million people spread over Africa than nothing at all. But what it's saying is those same people are going to make that final trek to our territory that we get. Because they're going to be like, okay, yeah, you know, look, I mean, I live there, but I'm going to go there and try to help out, you know. What we can't have is these people that think that all the borders and countries that you see in Europe and Africa right now were drawn by Europeans. They don't reflect the reality of Africa. So therefore, oh yeah, I'm going to Nigeria. Literally, really means nigger area. You know, Lord Lugard created the country when I just called it. He drew the country up on a freaking napkin. This is Nigeria. And so we got people basically like, why is this conflict in Nigeria? Well, the country was created by the British. This is our territory called the Nigerian Protectorate. Drew up over lunch. Yeah, let me show you. We got this country right here. Oh yeah, that's where the borders are. On a piece of paper, on a napkin. And so we sit there and we just sit there and run with the borders that were created by the Europeans. You know, and the whole thing, we had Liberia, but, you know, that's still an option on the table. We could build in Liberia and everything. But right now they have a government that has to take care of its own people. Their priority. I can't expect that. If we land on the continent, we born on the continent, we have to form our own government that basically will protect our interests. Right now, the government in Accra is taking care of Ghanaians. That's their priority. The government in Nigeria is going to take care of Nigerians, you know, and that's the way it should be. What we need is that one state that basically protects and basically provides for the people who basically live in the West. Same way the Israel did with the Jews. Jews were living all over the world, but what state gave them priority? Israel. We don't have that. I don't think that's too hard to understand. Am I right, Bomani?
No, brother.
We don't have one
too
state
hard to understand.
You know, that one state that prioritizes us. None. No state on this friggin' planet does that. You know, no state that says that African slave descendants, right, are priority. No state right now.
None.
You
No
know,
country.
no country in the world. You don't think that's any accident? Oh, yes, what I want to say. The African Union, basically, some people are running around talking about the third real. Let me tell you something, folks. I'm gonna educate people today, right? When they in the African Union rules terms like diaspora, they're not talking about us. You know, they're not talking about us African Americans, Jamaicans, slave descendants. They're talking about Africans who live outside the continent, and that includes Arabs that were born on the continent. You know, that's broad include Europeans that live over there. They're part of the African diaspora. You see how they twisted the whole thing up? So you go into the African, yeah, the African Union. You wear people wearing Negroes wearing the African Union flag. They don't friggin' give a shit about you and me. That's not what it is. They're talking about the Negroes that live overseas. That thing is part of the New World Order globalist stuff. Oh, the African, we have all the Dr. Arcana. She says, "Oh, the African talent live in the West. These Africans don't have no talent in the damn West. They're living paycheck to paycheck in the West." And so, therefore, Africa, oh man, Dr. Arcana, she spoke. She's not speaking to you, fool. You've been in America 400 years. You're African American. You don't have any citizenship in Africa. You weren't born there. She's not talking about you. They don't define Africa by race. They define Africa by birth and geography and stuff like that. That's not the current thing. The old OAU used to define Africa by race. And then the race traders got in there and changed that. They went in there and changed that and basically made Africa like when they talk about Africa, they talk about only people born on the continent. That's not what the Garvey and all these other people, because Kwame Nkrumah was the founder of one of the founders of OAU. He was a student of Garvey. He was talking about black people worldwide. Kwame Nkrumah talked to Malcolm X. He talked about a technology pool where Ghanaians, where African Americans were basically like that in a Pan-African. Malcolm X, all the stuff I'm talking about right now, Malcolm X talked about in his last days. He said we have to build Africa, you know, for the future. And how we built Africa is basically having states in a different territory. And Africa is not just one state. It's a collection of territories throughout Africa and throughout the world with one alpha state. And that alpha state will basically, I think, we live in Australia. We have African Americans and slave descendant black people live in Australia. They're part of the global Afrikstan. Why are we saying this, folks? I know I'm scaring people. Why? Because we see America's going to fall. And we have to be prepared for that day when America does fall, when this all collapses. When America collapses, where are we going to go to? What are we going to do? We're going to be organized globally. We're going to have a global computer system with people, millions of people's names and everything, and supply chains and networks are definitely set up. We're going to be all over the world. Afrikstan doesn't mean we're all cramped in one state. It means that one state, no matter where we are, represents us. I don't think that I'm not asking for a whole lot. I'm not asking for a whole lot. I'm not saying, oh, Bummer should coast, give up what you're doing in America. But no, I'm saying that we have to recognize that one state as the leader, as a pinnacle of us. Yeah, Angola is a perfect place. I'm already looking at Angola and whatnot, and already got offers for territory in Angola. You know, Angola is a perfect place. You know, that's a place I've been studying for 10 years now. You know, Angola is a perfect place. You know, northern Angola is a perfect place. You know, start by building towns like we got in Ghana. We have the prototype right now with Bomani. Start by building towns and everything. And Angola has money. They have money to put behind what we're trying to do. They said they'll do it. You know, they said they'll do it, man. You want to build these cities and towns when I come on ahead. The only thing I need is this damn support. You know, that's why I'm going for it now. You know, I'm going for it now. The bottom line is I'm using my brother mine's helping me out with this and when I had to get this message out. Join the BAO social network and everything. I got people on the ground in Angola. If you want to go to Angola, I can set up for you. If you got really something to offer there that I can get you in Angola, all you have to do is buy a plane ticket. I can get you there and I can hook you with the right people. We want to build a state. We want to build this Afrikstan. It's going to start with a town, a municipality. It's going to start with a community, a gated community. We'll start with that. And we all have to be concentrated in one area. and that's it. That's how we build a state. We're concentrated in a specific area. And then you build your roads, your infrastructure around where you're settling at. So therefore, once we have that territory that's recognized and we have some sort of autonomy, not necessarily sovereignty just yet, because I would think Angola, if we do it in Angola, Angola would just be, it'd be like a Dubai situation where we have our own government or local regional government and autonomy. We're capable of doing this, folks. We're more than capable of doing this. Our own sovereign wealth fund, our own treasury department, our own tax base and everything. We could do this, folks. And that state right there would basically be so powerful. So how powerful would it be? Well, look at the Vatican. Vatican City. Vatican City made the fucking Catholic Church most powerful institution in the world. The Vatican is a geopolitical entity. That's what I was saying about geopolitics. You cannot, if you don't have territory, no land, you don't exist. Wherever you are, when people say, oh, I'm a Nation of Islam, where's the Nation of Islam's land? They don't have any. They don't exist. If you don't have land and territory and everything like that where you control from top to bottom, you don't exist. Say what you want about African brothers, they know that. I may not be much when I be poor, but hey, this is my country. We make the rules here. And we try to protect that. Oh, well, yeah, okay, we understand white supremacy is global, but nobody suffers like we do. Because we got no power to say over shit over our lives. And what Negroes that oppose me and oppose this, they want to give the next generation powerlessness too. I wasn't shit. I was a clown ass nigga. So my grandkids are gonna be clown ass niggas, getting shot by the police, shooting each other, that's what you're passing down. Generation after generation of buffoonery and clownery, Everybody, we got any more questions? Nobody called in?
No questions and nobody called in, and all the posts that I posted was just general posts. But brother, appreciate you going into full detail, breaking it down to where, it's all there, man. You're live and uncut, and you're hitting all the points. So
yeah,
I guess we're gonna be seeing what's gonna happen in the comment section.
Oh yeah, of course. The bottom line,
the haters are gonna be coming for you.
Oh, okay, let them bring it.
Like that unapologetic Negro peon that we ran off YouTube.
Yeah, he's battered and bruised right now. Licking his wounds. And like I said, next year's trip to Liberia, we're going to Liberia, and the reason why I'm interested in Liberia because I want to let people know. And 200 years ago, we did this. 200 years ago. And why is it that the black man of the 19th century could do this, and the black man of the 21st century don't feel like he could do shit?
Yeah, with all this modern day technology.
This tells me technology. People think, oh, technology. I should have known. Technology, it's the spirit behind the technology, It's the people. You can have all the technology you want. When I look at all the black people online, we have all the technology and people are still ignorant. People are still stupid, miseducated and stuff like that, misinformed. So it all cancels itself out. Some people do learn a lot online. I get that, right? But for the most part, man, you can have technology and you basically, if you're not using it and everything, it sits right there. But when people are really organized, like I said, first thing to do is start with our social network, join the social network, join the Nigeria chapter, join the Angola chapter, meet people and everything like that. Let's get that ball rolling. And the day is going to come, right, where we're going to have the right people hook up with us and everything. If the demand for, look, the bottom line is this is what I want to end with right here, Right. Kaba said, "Join to take the trip." Yeah, we want to see you in Liberia, brother. That's gonna be the trip of all trips. I'm gonna be there. That's gonna be the trip. You're gonna have a ball. Trust me. That's where we're gonna set this whole Afrikstan stuff off. Liberia is where we're gonna launch all this stuff from. People think they got us boxed because no, Liberia is going to be the pipeline where we're going to launch all this stuff to Angola and stuff. So I've thought this out and I've done this, and people think they're going to trip me up, and you're just wasting your time, you know. Oh, gee, I forgot what I was going to say. Jeez. What was I saying, Bomani?
In closing, you're getting ready to close as we are coming up on.
Oh yeah. What I'm saying is this.
2-hour mark.
Yeah, what I was saying was this. This is what I'm saying. Look, the bottom line is this: the black man in America, right? The black man in America is capable of doing this, and capable of doing this. Sister, hey, okay, sister, yeah, we want to have you over there. She's a sister. But you know what gets me is the sisters are more militant than the freaking men are. You ever notice that? When you talk about nation, it's the sisters that be like, yeah, that's it, you know. You know, sisters are a lot more like, yeah, I'm down, this, that, and the other thing. It's the men that act like freaking cowards, you know, and, oh, no, we can't do that, and all those kind of nonsense excuses they give you. The idea that we should have a nation, a state, and territory on our own and whatnot is something that we are going to do. It's not going to be easy and everything, but I will put that ideology up with anything, because everywhere I look, I don't see anything that rivals that ideology right there. Black people in the West, the black people, the African Americans and the black people in the West are the most advanced black people on the planet, right? And if Africa is really serious about developing, right, it would not cut off the black people in America, right, from its development. And this is what I wanted to say earlier, right here. Yeah, we don't need all African Americans, you know. Yeah, we don't need all African Americans. All we need is about a good 10,000 people organizing. We're fine. The Africa has not developed a thing where human potential is valued, right? When that happens, Africa's going to change. You cannot have your best and brightest leaving the continent. You cannot have a net outflow of $100 billion a year because you don't have proper infrastructure, right? You got to rely on foreign companies to do all your shipping and logistics and everything, and you're leaving $100 billion a year, leaving the continent and develop. You cannot be serious unless you're going to pull all the Chinese people, right? You know how China got where it is? It went to the Chinese diaspora all over the world. You're Chinese. Chinese Americans been here for centuries, right? They were recruited after the United States gave Chinese people all this free education in the 60s. Chinese government, you know, beguiled Nixon. Yeah, Mao said, look, they brought all these Chinese over there and actually basically like this. And said, look, we need your technology. And that's how China boomed to this day. It basically said, okay, you're Chinese. If you're Chinese, brother, that you're Chinese American, you could settle in Beijing and get a job and everything, integrate back into society, even if you've been off the China for 50 years, because they recognize human capital. There's no African country that recognizes the human potential of their nation state. That's why they justify bringing Lebanese and Chinese in Africa, because they don't see that, okay, if Kenya has all the Chinese there, right? These people are part of society. Instead of saying, you know, look, we're going to get black people, you're going to train the black people, and you Chinese going to leave because we're trying to make it Kenya and Afrikstan, mean a black state. And Afrikstan means a black African infrastructure nation state. You can't have a Chinastan or Krakistan and everything in Africa. You got Indians in Africa, man, setting up shop all over the place. They're making a Punjabi stand, whatever they call themselves, you know, a Patel stand, you know. Bottom line is there's no Afrikstan in Africa. Everybody else is setting up shop. We need an Afrikstan and make a prototype all throughout the continent where we say we want black African infrastructure. That means we have our own engineers, scientists, and all that stuff like that from top to bottom, black owned, you know? Why? Because it's like a friggin' a virus, right? It replicates itself. We want black families to be the backbone of the black nation. You know? We want to build the black family. The black family is how you ensure the nation. Then the state is easy. Why? Because the nation. Look at Japan. They take their marriage and all that stuff like that, the family structure seriously. Asians take their family structure seriously. You're 30 years old. You're not married. Oh, we got to get you married. We got to do this. People don't want to hear that, man, but we got to hear that. You cannot build no nation without a family. That's one thing the Nation of Islam was adamant about. Nation is a family. So if we're going to have a nation state, right, what kind of nation state? We don't want a bunch of freaking knuckleheads running around. We want to build families. When we build families, man, we got people that's going to fight for us. People that's going to protect us. People going to make sure our laws and everything work. That's what a nation is. You know, the Afrikstan is the idea, a nation state of the African diaspora building on the African continent. When we say African diaspora, we're not meaning Charlize Theron, of South Africa. We're not talking about Jeff Bezos, We're talking about people like Bomani and myself, right? Slave descendants. Let's be frank, right? I know what a black man is, Bomani walks in the room, that's a brother, The bottom line is this: if you're black, you can have salvation with us, right? Nigerians say, "Man, I feel left out." Man, bring your black ass over to the Afrikstan, and you'll feel at home. That's the only difference between us and everybody else. Any black man can fall into our category and become one of us. We're the only culture that can do that. You will never feel out of place if you're a black man. Who is a black man? A real black man. Yes, we're race. See our hair, our skin, our lips. That's true Africans. If you're a true African, you're part of the Afrikstan. As simple as that. We don't. That's it. They say, "Are you racist?" It is what it is. Don't tell me I'm a racist after 500 years of hell I've been through. Oh man, I'm supposed to be fucking like a smiling ass fucking Shaquille O'Neal and shit, and all this kind of nonsense and everything. Yeah, I'm pissed off, but
Yes, Kala, yes. Beautiful, brother, beautiful. You've said a mouthful and more than enough, man, and covered all of my points over the period of time.
Well, we're going to continue this topic, man. The Afrikstan, that's the end game, and we get more people talking. I hope people get, call us to the Africa. My name is on everybody's mouth on YouTube right now. When I'm sitting in my house, Kala, what the fuck? I didn't even know this guy, man. People in the comments say, yeah, that Kala. My name is all over the damn internet right now. I'm like, God damn. So, okay, so what? I'll be that punching boy. Because like I said, I'd rather do this, right? And I know people are going to come at me, but then sit back and be like, look. Because right now, I look at the Pan-African movement, people are fucking up big time. People are really fucking up big time. And people are short-sighted. I just want to go to Africa, get me some... Dude, man, look. Let's put our effort. Imagine if we all put our efforts into this territory that we're talking about, We can easily do this. We can have everything we want and then more. I want to know what the end game is to have political power, I don't want to go no place. Let somebody tell me, oh, you could do this, but you can't have no political. Get the fuck out of here. We got political power. We have some sort of say, oh, no, if Africa belongs to us, then yeah, we do have some say so. We don't have no representation in the African Union. They talk about, oh, you're the sixth region. The sixth region does not mean you. It means all these Negroes that fled Africa, That does not mean us. Oh, we're the sixth region. I had to break it down to this one girl, and she shut up. Said, Kala, we're the sixth region. Then I broke it down to her. She said, oh, I didn't know that. Man, come on, man. Nobody's going to give you nothing. Us going to Africa and building these communities like Bomani's doing, we need hundreds of these things like Bomani's doing. But we need to concentrate them in certain areas. When we start coming to Africa and living year-round in large numbers, when we got the capacity to do that and everything, and one day we will. Once we basically have our own infrastructure and our industries and everything, we'll be able to bring millions of our people to the continent and live really well because it'll be so well organized. We'll have all the things we have to have infrastructure. The answer to the riddle, how to get African Americans and diaspora come to Africa, you have to build Black African infrastructure. When you have infrastructure, the people will come. People like, oh, nice roads, everything like that, man. I got houses and everything. People will come. You know, we got industrial parks, we got business centers and everything. Oh yeah, people will come. They will come. But people are not going to come if there's no infrastructure. We have to have our own infrastructure. And they're not going to come if Chinese are running the infrastructure, the Lebanese. If you have Black African infrastructure from top to bottom, they will come. That's the challenge. It's not going to be easy. You know, that's a challenge. It's like everything else, man. We're going through a process. You know, we have to get those type of Black people who got that mindset with us. You know, after like this, if you're an engineer, whatever, join the BAL. We have engineering group. You know, we need to get all these people brainstorming together, you know, and say, look, yeah, you know, all over the continent, wherever we live at, man, we got engineering challenges and everything in these countries. We're going to be able to do that. So where our people settle, they got everything, the best thing they need. We got technicians and everything, you know. We need to have that. We have to maintain ourselves on the continent. That's the only way. And we need our military. We need our militias and stuff like that, you know. We need to protect ourselves, you know, like any other group of people. So with that, man, I think we said enough tonight, you know.
Yes, brother Kala, appreciate your energy, brother. Great presentation, family. We're gonna continue on this topic, and we're gonna also continue on Liberia. So
Yep.
the goal is for us to connect to Africa, build relationships, and more important, for Black people just to get more into doing business with each other. So that's what all of our movements talk about when you see the Africa for the Africans.
Black Africans.
Not like the people you were talking about earlier.
Black Africans. We need Black African infrastructure. Black African infrastructure. You know, that's hard for people to understand and get with and everything. It's scary for some people, but
that's right there in your title, right there, brother. Land, infrastructure, nationhood.
Yep, that's bottom line is Black African infrastructure. You know, we don't have infrastructure. We're gonna do that. So one day we're not gonna have this conversation. It's gonna be so natural, you know. But let me tell you something. When Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration, they thought he was a nut. They said we have the right to secede. Matter of fact, they said that when he wrote that declaration, they said this is the most egregious document on a scale so high. I don't know. You have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and all that. They thought he was crazy. What, they saying that now? No. You know, same thing with everything else. You know, people thought this. Every billionaire, someone thought that he was a nut at first, but he stuck by his guns. They thought Jeff Bezos was a crazy. Now look at him now, over $1 trillion. You know, you're gonna think probably people gonna think Kala Genesis is fucking nuts. But I thought this out and I will study, and everything in history tells me this is the right way to go. So I know once it happens and everything, I'm vindicated. I put it out there. I'll be vindicated one day. You know, when this does pop off, you know. So,
you go, family. Here live on Revolutionary Camp, family. Revolutionary Ideas by brother Kala Genesis. So I'm sure he's gonna wake up tomorrow in a whole bunch of different African countries gonna be calling him and saying, "Hey, brother, we got 100 acres."
I get offers all the time.
5,000 acres.
Check out. I get offers all the time, brother. It's not that the land's not there. It's I got to get Negroes from America that call themselves Pan Africans on board. That's all it takes.
Good luck on that one.
Yeah, that's the whole part. The whole part. You could be free. Black people could be free tomorrow if they wanted to. You know, there's nothing. You know, look, you could have a nation state of your own. You could be so proud. Imagine that having your own Afrikstan flag. You know, and you're basically like a new nation and stuff like that. And you're basically be able to go there, and we have our national stadium and shit like that. You know, imagine the feeling of that. You know what I'm saying? Imagine the feeling that where you could decide who comes in your country or not. You know,
powerful.
You know, and so the bottom line that right there is what I dream about all the time. Having a nation, a flag of our own, and basically like this. You know, we can go over there and live and everything like that. And not be bothered with America if we don't want to. We come back to America, we send our kids to college, and go back and forth and everything. We need that, you know. We need that, and let the white man have America. Let the white. I'm through fighting for this shit, you know. You know, I don't give a shit about no black president or black senator, these goofballs and whatnot. Every time I look around, I see a Negro running a city into the ground and whatnot. You know.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? In my city, man, the mayor's black, but he's a one white guy. And he's so we got some Pan Africans, but We don't have that many black people in the government in my city. I'm good. I'm glad for that shit. You know. So I look at Portsmouth and I look at Norfolk, man. It's a fucking mess, man. I said, yo, look, Negroes, man, please, you know, stay away. But the people in we have Ghanaians that in the city of Chesapeake when they have Sister City Project and everything. That's another thing. A Sister City Project in your city. See if your sister. That's what you should do. Mine too. See if your city got a Sister City Project. You know, they got different resources and stuff like that, you know, funds, you know, for different cities that they work for. But now, you know, with Sister City projects are controlled by these leftists and these feminists and these LGBTQ types, you know. So we should at least be running the Sister City projects in where we live at. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if the Pan Africans got a hold to the Sister City projects and we got those millions of dollars that they donate for development and stuff like that, you know, in Africa and whatnot, you know, shit, you know, that'd be a game changer right there.
There you go, family. Absolutely. There you go, man. And Kala, I'm sure he's ready for another round next time. So, family, stay tuned. And the saga continues. The journey continues with Kala as he.
Let's do it again next week, brother. We'll be back.
All right, so family, we catch up to you next time on Prime Time Live on Revolutionary Cam with Bomani and Kala.
All right, brother.
Take care, man. Appreciate your energy, and we'll keep it strong.
Black Flower. All right, brother. Peace.